Today we are going to break down one of the most foundational stories out there, the account of humanity's fall from grace in Genesis chapter 3. We're going to walk through the whole thing step by step from a single question that spirals into a world that is forever changed. So let's get right into it. And it all kicks off right here. Not with a bang, but with this really subtle, really manipulative question. The serpent, who's described as the craftiest of all the creatures, doesn't come out swinging with a direct lie. Nope. Instead, it starts by twisting the truth, making this one tiny restriction sound like a total ban on everything. It's a classic move, right? Plant a little seed of doubt by just bending the facts. Now, to really feel the weight of that question, you gotta remember the setting. We're in the Garden of Eden. It's paradise. The man and woman have pretty much total freedom. There's food everywhere, it's beautiful, and there isn't some long, complicated rule book. There was just one. A single rule. And here it is, that one rule, laid out by the woman herself. The boundary was crystal clear. You can have anything and everything except for this one thing. And the consequence for breaking that rule was just as clear: death. This single rule is the pin that the entire story is going to pivot on. Okay, so the rule is established. Everyone knows what's up, and now the serpent makes its move. It goes from that subtle suggestion to just an outright contradiction. It directly challenges not just the rule, but Yahweh's integrity. This is the moment the whole conversation flips from questioning a rule to flat out denying there are any real consequences. I mean, wow. Talk about a bold-faced lie. The serpent doesn't just question the outcome anymore, it completely denies it. And then, right away, it replaces that warning of death with a super tempting promise. It reframes the whole thing. This isn't about protecting you, it's about holding you back. Your creator is trying to keep you from becoming what you're truly meant to be. And when you put it side by side like this, the deception is just so obvious. On one side, you have Yahweh's warning, if you disobey, you'll die. On the other side, the serpent's promise, if you disobey, you'll become a god. See what it did? The serpent turned a choice between obedience and rebellion into a choice between staying ignorant and becoming enlightened. It's a powerful trick that makes the forbidden thing seem absolutely essential. So the serpent has made its case. That seed of doubt has been planted, and it's been watered with this promise of incredible power. Now, the decision is up to the woman. And the story really slows down here to walk us through her thought process right before she makes a choice that can't be undone. And you know, what's so important here is that this wasn't just some crazy, irrational decision. She actually assesses the fruit from 3 different angles. First, there's the physical appeal. It looked good to eat. Then there's the aesthetic appeal. It was just beautiful to look at. And finally, the big one, the intellectual appeal, that promise of wisdom. It was a temptation that hit her on every level, her body, her eyes, and her mind. And just like that, it's done. She takes a bite. Then she gives some to her husband, who, the text says, was right there with her, and he eats too. No argument, no hesitation, nothing. In one simple sentence, the one rule is broken, and everything changes. So what happens right away? Well, they don't drop dead, just like the serpent promised. Instead, their whole consciousness shifts. Their eyes are opened, but what they see isn't godhood. It's their own vulnerability. This new knowledge doesn't bring them power. It brings them shame and fear, and their first instinct is to cover up and hide from the one who made them. So you see, the first thing to die wasn't their bodies, it was their relationship. The peace of the garden is shattered when they hear Yahweh walking and the confrontation begins. But what happens next isn't an apology, oh no. It's a masterclass in passing the buck. And this first question from Yahweh is it's so heavy. He's obviously not asking for their GPS coordinates. He knows where they are. The question is about their condition, about how far they've drifted. And Adam's answer says it all. He admits he was afraid because he was naked, immediately tying his fear to this brand new, shameful self-awareness. And here's where the finger-pointing begins. It's a perfect chain reaction of blame. Yahweh confronts Adam, and Adam doesn't just blame the woman. He actually throws a little shade at Yahweh himself, saying, "The woman you gave to be with me." It's an incredible move. Then, when the attention turns to the woman, she does the exact same thing, pointing right at the serpent. You notice how nobody, not once, says, "I messed up." That instinct to blame someone else is immediate. All right, so the excuses have been made, the blame has been passed. Now come the consequences. And these aren't just punishments, these are fundamental changes to their very existence and to the world around them. Every single character involved is about to get a verdict. And the fallout is huge. As you can see, each consequence is like a direct echo of what they did. The serpent, who used his clever words to deceive, is now cursed to crawl in the dust. The woman, whose desire for wisdom led her to act, will now have pain in childbirth and conflict in her relationships. And the man, who ate the fruit from the ground, will now find that the ground itself is cursed. He'll have to sweat and toil for his food until he finally returns to the dust he came from. That original warning of death comes true, not instantly, but as the final destination of a new life filled with struggle. The story builds to one last dramatic climax. The judgments are out. The very nature of life has been changed. But there's one more thing that has to be done to make this new reality permanent. They have to be exiled from paradise. But wait, before they're sent away, there's this really curious, almost tender moment. Remember how they tried to cover themselves with flimsy fig leaves? Well, that wasn't enough. So Yahweh himself steps in and makes them more durable clothes from animal skins. Even in the middle of all this judgment, it's an act of care. And here's the final, crucial reason for the expulsion. The problem now is the tree of life. If they were to eat from that tree, in this new state of knowing good and evil, they'd be stuck living forever in this broken, conflicted way. So in a strange sense, the exile is a kind of harsh mercy. They're sent out, and the way back to the tree of life is blocked by angelic beings and a flaming sword. The door to Eden is shut for good. So the story leaves us not with a neat and tidy moral, but with a brand new reality and a really deep question. Humanity gained this new awareness, the knowledge of good and evil, but look at what it cost them. They lost their innocence, their home, their closeness with their Creator. And it forces us all to ask, what is knowledge really worth, and what price are we willing to pay for it?